Hey, yeah, baby. A long-awaited arrival. Been waiting on this puppy for a bit. Very patiently. I'm fairly sure I was fairly patient. I mean, let me tell you something. The long-awaited day has finally arrived, and I have been alluding to a new project that I had in the works and might be getting ready to shoot about this time of year. And a couple days ago, that came to fruition. I have been waiting patiently, I might add, on absolute perfection. I'm pretty damn sure it has arrived. Today's subject of my soliloquy and eloquence is none other than a prime example of custom rifle master craftsmanship. My new baby, a totally custom built bolt action Remington 700 action with a Krieger barrel, HS precision stock, and a Timney trigger, and some custom bottom metal, and some Vortex on top, HS precision stocks. Long range AT&T reach out and touch 'em gun, and do so in an extremely accurate manner. Now, I've got some good accurate rifles, and I've had some extremely accurate long range. I got a feeling that when I start putting this one through its paces and work myself up the proper load and find the right nodes, I'm going to have something that will rival anything I've ever owned before. Now, that sounds like a whole lot of sure is a lot of hyperbole, Brad, and you sure are reaching for something that you haven't shot yet. Well, I've shot it. And I shot it with ammunition that was just thrown together within semi-spec to do barrel break-in, to bring the scope into relative zero, just get an initial zero there, all that stuff. And while I was doing these barrel break-in shots, while I was doing the zero and the adjustments for having it zeroed at 100 yards just for an initial zero, with this ammunition that was basically just quickly clabbered together, brand new cases, the cheapest Spitzer bullet Hornady makes in a very low weight, really, 139 grains, and meter thrown charges, not even hand trickled, and packed down in there at book data length, not taking advantage of any of the available room in that chamber on the jump between chamber and lands. There were several times during the firing of the initial 30 rounds that this thing put more than one bullet through the same hole at 100 yards, and that was just plinking grade ammo. Now, there were a lot of other rounds that went to the edge of the hole, just off the side of it and around. And one thing you have to remember is yesterday when I did this, we literally had Oklahoma winds averaging at 18 to 20 and gusts to 35. So that's why you're not looking at any targets, because I wasn't going for accuracy, and I'm not going to go for accuracy until I work a load. But later on in the series, coming down the pike, we're going to get out there. I'm going to find the load, I'm going to find the node, and I think I'm going to have a great time with this rifle. But anyway, enough about what might happen in the future. Let's talk about some of the finer points of this right now. Now, the first thing I need to tell you, this custom rifle was built by a man right here in Oklahoma. And I'm going to tell you what, he is a consummate professional. He knows his craft inside and out, and he's got to be the top guy to go to for having a rifle built. His name is Jon, Jon Beanland, Beanland. And he's got a Facebook page. You ought to check that out and look at it. If you've ever in your life thought that you might want to really just go all out, go whole hog, and get you a custom gun shooting the round you wanted, set up the way you know you want it the best, this is the guy to contact. I'm telling you right now. He is extremely professional. He is very, very knowledgeable about what he's doing and has been for a lot of years. And I'm going to tell you something, and he can attest to this. If you have any issue, he's quite possible to lose sleep over it. This man, you want to talk about, I'm not going to say OCD, but I am going to use the phrase absolute dedication to 100% satisfaction of every customer he has ever had or ever has or will have. The man is an artist, and he has done one heck of a fine job putting this together. I took him the parts. The barrel, I ordered that from Krieger. It was a 30-inch. Bull MTU is the biggest one you can get without paying special extra prices. 7mm caliber. It's in 7 Remington short action ultra mag. Now, on that note of the caliber, I will say this. If you think you've always wanted one of those in that, something in that caliber, let me assure you, finding ammunition and finding brass, if you ain't really got a good line on a lot of different places to go, you might want to pick on a caliber that's somewhat more popular, somewhat easier to get components for, because let me tell you, over the course of 8.5 months, I have been able to scrounge up exactly 250 cases to load. And they ain't cheap. Nosler custom cases are $2.40 some odd cents a piece. They're probably $2.70 by now. Norma factory cases were $1.72. And a company called ADG, Atlas Design Group, theirs were right about there, maybe just a teeny higher than Norma. And they're all good looking, Christ, but my God, I tell you what they get for that stuff. And nobody carries a lot of it, and nobody makes a lot of it. And there are still F-class shooters that use this cartridge. They must have a sponsor that knows where to get them, because I'm going to tell you, I haven't seen any available on the net in months. It's been 4 months, 5 months since I've seen any of those. So between the pandemic, between the election panic, Jesus, and the fact that this cartridge isn't one that everybody's using, and for years proprietarily only Remington made the cases, yeah, be prepared. Check it out before you decide on that. Anyway, back to the gun. Krieger barrel, full bull, MTU. And you say, God, Brad, that's a big old chunk of iron. Why do you want a chunk of iron that big? I want this thing heavy. Hell, even the scope rings, which are Leupold Mark IVs, there's a steel. I want it heavy. I want it as heavy as I can get, because the only thing I'm going to do is drag it out of the truck, drag it out of the bag, put it on the bench, shoot it, put it back in the bag and back in the truck. I ain't toting this thing around in the woods. And being as I am of an advancing age, and I have a whole lot of old injuries in my ribs and chest and collarbones and things like that from a young life lived hard, shooting a heavy recoiling weapon on a light frame, I just can't. I can do it, but for the next 5 days, I'm going to feel like I've got arrows being shot into my chest, and that's no fun. Scary experience. The action is a Remington 700 Magnum action. It was brand new. It's never been on a gun. Ordered it straight off in the box, bolt and action. I'm going to tell you something. I love it. Now, if you're going to use an action from a company like Remington, there's something you want to pay attention to. Make sure that you look at that bolt face and look at the extractor ring rivet that holds it in the bolt. If it's a brand new bolt and never been in a gun before and Ruger never put it in a gun, the odds are real good that that head on that rivet hasn't been surfaced, and that can cause you an issue of things hanging up, and it makes you and your gun builder both stand around going, scratching your head for half an hour going, what in the hell is going on? It'll happen. So, fans of Remington bolts, Jon actually recommends that if you're going to use a Remington when you have him build a rifle, put the M16 extractor in it and just get rid of that factory stuff. I might do that. Never can tell. It just depends on how it is. This worked fine the other day, so far so good. Custom bolt handle. He's got several different designs they can put on there. Custom bottom metal. Really good stuff. A heck of a lot better than anything you'll get at the factory. We stuck a Timney trigger in it. Sitting on that HS Precision. Recoil lug. A little bit thicker than your factory lugs are, and it is pinned into that receiver. It's not just laying in there, not just sandwiched in. That puppy's there. You pull that barrel out and it's going to stay right there. Now there's not just a precision part of this in the work that he does. I had him true that action, and he said that Remington action was pretty dang straight already, so he didn't have to tear up a lot in there. He just went in there and just relief cut what he needed, which wasn't much, which was nice. It was fine that he could do that. The man has the skill and the ability on his machines to zero out, and I'm talking decimal point 4 zeros. Okay, he gets stuff trued. And as an example of that, an external example of that, it'd be hard to get a camera in there and show you all that internal work they got on in there. But there's one thing I can show you. This barrel is threaded on the end for use with a brake or suppressor. It has a thread protector cap of his design. And he has them in knurled, he has them in hybrid, and he has them in seamless. This one is seamless, and by seamless it means like when it's screwed down all the way, you can't tell that there's a cap on that barrel at all. And I'm getting ready to show you a little magic, because this will demonstrate to you how much of his excrement the man's got together when it comes to machining to a fine art. Stand by, look at this. Now here's what I was talking about, that little muzzle thread protector cap that he makes. He's got them called hybrid, where it's got knurling and a seamless, or totally knurled or totally seamless. But I think it's just cool as a dog. You know what? It's the fact that this is a little magic trick. Now you got a line, now you don't. Got a line, no you don't. Man, I tell you what, now that's having your shit together. That is just impressive to me, and the man can do it day in, day out. Just a cool little item, seamless thread protector. Yeah, baby, gotta have you one of them. Alrighty, let's look at a couple of other features on this fine unit. God, I'm gonna have so much fun playing with this. Repair. Jon can install those custom bolt knobs right there on those factory bolts as they come. He does a beautiful job. That puppy's Loctited on there. It ain't going nowhere. Now, I don't know if the microphone will pick this up, but listen to this. This is just a sweet sounding action. Not plunk-a-tunk-a-tunk, plunk. One note. And that puppy moves back. You can't hardly tell it's moving. Gosh, sweet. That is so pretty. Now, I can't get the camera in there and show it to you, but when he builds these, You use what's called the wide box. Gives you room enough inside a regular stock like this for 3 in the magazine, and for 7mm Remington short action ultra mag, that's a lot. Because a standard box would only hold 2. He does a fine job on this. And I'll show you the face on the lugs here in a minute, but he laps those lugs in, and you talk about smooth. And when you work that bolt, you can feel it. You can feel. There ain't nothing there but smooth. Like I said, I've got a Timney trigger on this puppy. And I had them set at the factory at 8 1/8 ounces. God, puppy's crisp. She's crisp. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Now you can probably see the bottom metal a little bit. You'll notice that it's got the straight drop trigger on it from Timney. You can see the actual magazine wheel cap extends down just a little bit. Doesn't go up inside all the way like Remington factory stuff does, but that's what helps get you that additional capacity in room. But man, I tell you, it's tight. You can't wiggle it. You can't make it move. That's awesome. Let's see if we can get you a look at those lugs. You see the face of that lug lapped in, absolute true. And it's the same way on both sides. Absolute true and flush. There's no deviation. And when you choose the action, he pays attention to every surface on that bolt. That's about the cleanest face I've ever seen on a bolt. Now, I want to tell you people something also, while we're on the subject here up close and personal on the back end of this instrument. That rail that's sitting on there is a Seekins 30 MOA rail. And let me tell you, that thing was an item of concern for a minute, and I'll tell you more about it. Give me just a second. When I initially set this rifle up and got all the parts together before I took them to Jon, I had a loopholed Picatinny rail that I was going to use, and it was just 0 degrees, nothing major. And I had talked to Jon a couple times. He really recommended that I get something that had the integral recoil lug right here on the bottom of the rail, so that you could really make sure that the weapon I'm shooting a caliber that has this kind of effect and force wasn't going to tear anything up. So I got me one. Seekins. Okay. Now, I got it put on there after I got the rifle back, because obviously It's time to put that puppy together. I put that puppy on there, and I noticed that once I just kind of firmed down the rear screws, that the front of the rail was sitting up there 20, 30 thousandths off the front. And I thought, what in the heck's going on here? And so I loosened them up, and I got that lug all the way against that, and I kind of just, squawked them down, and that was sitting up way back there. And we were like, what the heck? We ain't going to have to bed this thing down. You shouldn't have to bed that. And depending on which way you go, you're either going to lose or gain a whole lot of MOA. And we got to looking, and we firmed, just barely firmed, the inward screws. Set a straight edge across there, and you could see 20, 25 thousandths gap between the straight edge and the tops of those rails. But when we screwed everything down, it was absolutely zero. What do you know? Maybe Seekins did that on purpose. Maybe they didn't, I don't know. But it's something to look for, and if you encounter it, don't freak out. Unless you're just really asthmatic that way, But it did kind of throw us for a loop. But she's a-working, and there's absolute straight edge one end to the other. Zero gap. It sits on top of it, absolutely flat, which is pretty cool. Okay, next item. Optics, people. You got to have optics. Now, I'm not one of these guys that has to have night force to think I've got enough. In fact, as you can tell from looking at the front of my hat, I'm kind of a big old Vortex fan. And I got friends that are shooters that are Vortex fans, and I got rifles, and my brother's got rifles that are all wearing Vortex that I've put on there. So yeah, I'm kind of happy with Vortex. That's that Viper PST 5x25 by 50. And when I was setting it on here, trial fitting, with even this large barrel, there's the biggest damn thing you can get from them without paying extra special money. Medium rings sufficed. I had a 32nd of an inch between the bell and the barrel. But once I decided to switch over to that 30 MOA edition rail, well, I didn't get a chance to try it until the rifle came back to me, but medium rings were no longer capable of allowing enough clearance between the bell and the barrel. She'd tip in, she'd sit down, but you couldn't slide wax paper between them, so it was too close. So I had to go get me some high rings. That's all right. Not a problem. But for those of you that don't know it, man, I'll tell you what, it's hard to beat the value you get from these Viper PSTs, from these twos. This is a Milradian first focal plane scope, and they are just awesome. They are hard to beat. Got the zero stop, all that good stuff. They're just so fun. Lots and lots of eye relief and field of view. And they are uncanny. I mean, maybe a night force might have something on it somewhere that I don't know about, but it does everything I want to do. Every one of them has. Talk about clicks. Yeah, baby. They're positive. They're audible. And they return to zero. Absolute every time. Love it. All right, let's move on. One of the main reasons I wanted that muzzle threaded was, even though I was concerned about recoil and I wanted to do what I could to mitigate as much recoil as possible by weapon weight, I also wanted to be able to, add on a few attachments just in case. And one of those attachments is that Area 419 Sidewinder muzzle brake. And let me tell you something, I didn't even put it on there yesterday when I was kind of playing with this and just getting things sighted in and doing some barrel finish. I didn't even put it on there. This weapon was not bouncing me around at all. It was really a lot of fun to shoot. And the only way you could make it actually move on its own was just sit behind it and pull the trigger without holding on to it. So, but it had a little recoil and you could feel it. But I got a feeling that once, if I'm ever shooting, and I'm going to shoot a lot, and I put this puppy on there, I honestly do not think this weapon is going to recoil any harder against my shoulder than my 243 precision rifle does. So I think it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. I love that. Ain't that just a pretty looking thing? Gave you a little showing of it a few months back when I put it on my Ruger Precision when I put it on. And it has a much thinner barrel, and obviously, yeah, it looked really weird, but I really like the fit. And I like the contour of it on this barrel. That's awesome. I like the way that looks. It's just a... Man, tell you what. Like a muzzle on a howitzer. Alright, let's do something else. Alright, there might be some of you a little curious about the dimensions on this round. Well, those of us in the know that with a short action you can have things like 243 and 308. Well, standing there side by side with one another is a 243, a 308 Winchester, and a Remington 7mm short action ultra mag. 308's in the middle, 243's to the right of the 308, and that's 7 Saums on the left. You can definitely see with the naked eye that even though they're all just about equal in their case length, there's a whole lot of difference in case capacity. That's where that extra recoil comes in. What's nice is you can take a case that size in a short action, stuff it with the right powder and put the right bullet in it, and get 7mm mag ballistics from a short action weapon. It's just a damn shame you can't find that brass anywhere hardly. Forever and forever, Remington was the only people that made that brass, and I don't know, they might still. But you do see it from Norma, Nosler, and ADG now and then, but I've checked their sites weekly for months. I can't find any unless it just came on today. But yeah, that's what they look like. That's the major difference. 243, 308, and the big bore. Yeah. Alrighty then. Well, that's about all the minutial detail I can give you on this without throwing a borescope down there and getting really in depth. Which I don't have one of those, so I can't do it. So I know you guys are like, come on, Brad, let's go shoot this son of a bitch. Well, I did. In hurricane gale force winds, Oklahoma, averaging 20 to 21, gusting to 40. I'm getting ready, I still got some ammo left, 20 rounds. And we're going to take this puppy out, hopefully when the wind is, somewhat calmer, 10, 12 miles an hour, something like that. And we're going to get a good taste for what type of difference we get in recoil. We're going to put that brake on there, see how it feels compared to no brake. Then going to stick suppressor on there and see how that feels as opposed to the brake, no brake, and see what kind of noise reduction we can get. Now it's obviously, pretty good size caliber, pretty good amount of powder, but didn't have that ear splitting, wanga blasting sound to it yesterday. And although I was wearing earplugs, really it really sounded a lot softer than I thought. So gonna set up some good sound equipment, gonna get a check on the level on that suppressor. I think it's really gonna really going to shine. But we're going to have some calmer wind. And then once I get that done, I'm going to start loading for the node. Going to start chasing that node and looking for the right little sweet spot with several different kinds of bullets. We're going to figure out what this thing likes to eat best. I've got, obviously, some Hornady, some ELDs. I've got 2 different weights of them. And I've also got some Burger. Yeah, them $1 bad boys. We're going to see how it likes those. We're going to check it out, see what it likes the best. Find the load that it really just put them all in the same hole. And that's what we're going to put a whole lot of bullets together for. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. Sorry I made you wait so long, but perfection takes time. And I want to thank Jon Beanland from the bottom of my heart for being the professional that he is, for being the perfectionist that he is, and for having the dedication to precision and professionalism and the pursuit of long-range accuracy that the man has, because this guy is just dynamite. And like I said, if you have ever thought about having one built, man, he's the guy to contact. Now I'll tell you, even if you take him to parts, be patient, okay? Perfection takes time. But when he's done, whew, yeah, baby, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. That is one very well put together rifle. And when you can get it to 0 on headspace and still work, that is major perfection and accomplishment as far as I'm concerned. This is awesome. I'm going to have a great time. Well, thanks for stopping by, and we're going to get a little busy on doing some other stuff. I think I might go out and play with a lever gun while I'm waiting on the wind to die down and make room for this. Anybody out there know where I can get a set of dies for a 30-40 Krag? Because I've got a 30-40 Krag rifle in Teddy Roosevelt's favorite model, 1895 Winchester. This one is the variant made by Browning, but it's just as tight, and it's a damn good gun. I've got a few rounds left over from back in, I think they were built in the 20s. I don't know if I want to shoot them or not. But anyway, stay tuned. We're going to go out and have some fun with this sweet little girl. I got to think of a name. I don't know what to call her yet. But it's got to be good. It's got to be good. All right, folks. Y'all have fun. Thanks for stopping by. Looking forward to the next one in the series of the continuing saga of one badass rifle. Yes. See y'all later. Bye.